Back in the 50s, somebody took it upon themselves to conduct a research study around human connection. And what was discovered was that human beings must connect with another human being. Bonding was the term. And what it means to bond is that you're emotionally open to someone, you feel safe, you want to be seen, you want to be heard, and you have physical contact with them. Knowing that physiologically we're hardwired to connect with other human beings, there's a lot of things that get complicated or muddied up. So tonight I'm going to talk about this desire to connect and how oftentimes we mix that up with being loved, having lust for somebody, having ourselves be in a state of limerence, or we can oftentimes feel the desire to connect out of sheer loneliness. So tonight I'm hanging out with the 4 L's. Love, lust, limerence, or loneliness.
You a star, you can touch the sky. I know that it's hard, but you have to try. If you need advice, let me simplify. If he don't love you anymore, walk your fine ass out the door.
Gang, welcome back. Yes, that's right. You're sitting with the queen of second opinions, Meg Higgins. That's how I roll. Here we are. I gotta, before I do anything else, I gotta just say, I'm so frickin' proud of myself. I had my first open mic night in St. Louis, Missouri, which is now where I find myself living. Came back here from San Diego, California. Miss you, San Diego. I started my comedy a few years ago in that beautiful place called Paradise. Was fortunate enough to do 7 shows. Now I'm back here and I'm launching it, and I got to do it last night. Word up. Thank you, Word Up, Miss N-R-G. She was the hostess with the mostest and got me acclimated very quickly, but I had a blast, so I had to get that off. I'm riding that wave of energy. Positivity. That's a great place. They're going to see me again and again. And I'll keep letting my listener following crew know where I can be seen. And eventually I'll be uploading some of my snippets from my comedy show on my website. And by the way, Carl's in the house.
Whoop, whoop.
Carl's I call him my partner in crime. Where would they want to get more information about me, Carl?
SecondOpinionated.com. That's where we're going to go. That's the place you go where, that's where everything funnels to. So everything, the Instagram, the TikTok, everything is going to funnel. The Facebook is going to funnel to SecondOpinionated.com. That is where you can book Meg. That is where she can take your questions. Just check the site out. I mean, it's really good, really well put together. It's got her signature red color. You can't miss it.
That's true. Red has become my color. And it's so many people think like I planned this. And eventually I'll tell the story as to how red became significant in my life. But that's for another time, another show. And it'll include a couple of guests just to back me up. So here we are. And again, let me educate you about me as Queen of Second Opinions. There are 2 sources that are responsible for me having significant opinions, which in the medical world they call second opinion. And that's what I believe I deserve to be in. And one of them, one of the grounds for me having such strong opinions is that I am a clinical therapist of 45 years, still going strong. Retirement is not in my DNA. So I'm here to serve. And again, if you go to the website, secondopinionated.com, you'll find out all the different ways that I do serve humanity. The second source of me having such profound opinions is the fact that I am officially in the 3rd act of life, which is my body's age is over 60. If you want to know the exact number, go to the website. I own it there. But I've got a lot of time on this planet, and I've had a very rich life. It's not over. As I like to say, I'm still kicking ass and taking some names. But yeah, this is coming out of my life experience, both personally and professionally. The topics that I pick, I speak about because I have lived through some things. So, one of the things I learned very early as a clinical therapist was that so much of how we operate in the world is tied to our physiology. In other words, how we were designed as humans. And one of the basic biological needs we have as humans, the term, it's a little fancy, is called the need to bond, B-O-N-D. Now, historically, anytime anybody heard that word, they would only think of mother and child connection, primarily, if not even exclusively. And it was back in the 50s, back in the 50s, somebody, I don't know the details, but somebody took it upon themselves to conduct a research study around human connection. And what was discovered was that, yes, human beings must connect with another human being. Bonding was the term. It got played out through, again, the mother-infant connection. And what it means to bond is that you're emotionally open to someone. You feel safe. You want to be seen. You want to be heard. And you have physical contact with them. And that's not the same as sex. Folks, our sex drive is separate from the bonding drive. Okay? Let me educate you there. Yeah. So, so tonight, knowing that physiologically we're hardwired to connect with other human beings, there's a lot of things that get complicated or muddied up. So tonight, I'm going to talk about this desire to connect and how oftentimes we mix that up with being loved, having lust for somebody, having ourselves be in a state of limerence, Limerence, or we can oftentimes feel the desire to connect out of sheer loneliness. So tonight I'm hanging out with the 4 L's. Love, lust, limerence, or loneliness. And what's really wacky is all 4 could be going on at the same time. They could be prompting you to connect or attach to someone coming out of any of those 4 possibilities or all 4. So I'm going to break that down. You know, you don't know. A good number of years ago, I don't like to date myself too much because I lived through my spirit and she's 45, but my body has a different age. But a long time ago here in St. Louis, I got my own radio show. And it was at KSD 550, the big 550 AM. I got my call-in radio show on a Saturday night from 6 until 8 p.m. And the suits, as I like to call them, the powers that be at this radio station, and they shall remain nameless, decided that my moniker needed to be the Love Goddess.
Ooh.
I know that I wasn't a big fan of that title, but I was, as a therapist, I was focusing only on working with couples and dealing with dating and shacking and marrying and being engaged. So because of that, they said, we're going to call you the Love Goddess. Well, that was fine. But I look back now and it's like, that was a little loaded. But there are very distinct differences between loving somebody, lusting after somebody, being in limerence with somebody.
I can't wait till we get to that
well,
one.
The limerence?
Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, well, I'm here. I'm here to break it all down. Again, because we're often naming things that really aren't what's really going on in terms of our experience emotionally or physically with somebody else.
And loneliness. Just I
That's
threw
right.
her off. And loneliness.
Well, I'm going to talk about that because I'm experiencing more of that in this third act of life, which I'm not a big fan of. But so back to the fact that I said, you know, I like to talk about my experience. So here's a little bit of Meg's story, your queen of second opinions. Back in my 20s, let's put it this way. I had 2 men that did ask me to marry them, and I turned them down. And I am one grateful woman today, because if I would have said yes to those 2 losers, I'd be divorced 2 times. Sure enough. And I'm glad I had the wisdom to not do it, to say no. But see, keep in mind, now I'm entering my late 20s, and I am the only woman in my tribe of women that was not involved seriously, exclusively with one man, much less even close to being proposed to, much less being close to having an actual wedding date. So I was starting to feel like an outcast among my peeps because, see, I grew up at a time where I was groomed, conditioned, I call it I drank the Kool-Aid, where I don't exist unless I've got a man. And my purpose in life is to marry and have many, many babies. But I digress. I was feeling that pressure, and then there was a man that I started dating, and I think we were close to maybe 1 year in, and we were talking about getting married. I didn't ever expect him to ask me, and he did. And I can own now that I said yes to that ring strictly because I did not like being the only woman in my tribe who was not spoken for. So I said yes, because I was feeling the pinch. I got to be married by I'm 30. In other words, a sense of desperation.
Really quick,
Sure.
If you guys ever want to, you can always call in 515-599-1687. If Meg says something that you resonate with, or you have a question, or you want to jump in this conversation, call that number, 515-599-1687.
That's exactly right. We welcome callers. I want people to add their opinion to something. They're welcome to disagree or ask a question, because, again, I'm here to give my opinion. So thank you, Carl. I love having a partner in crime. The truth is, my intuit knew, we really are not a match. And I couldn't understand why exactly, but I just knew something's off here. And I believe now that I was crushing to the external pressure, which was to play house. It's time to play house, Meg. Stop living by yourself and doing this single thing. But to my credit, I listened. Check this out. I listened to my gut, and I went and told him. I said, this is not going to work. I gave him back the ring. He was shocked, although, isn't it interesting, that he didn't fight to keep me. Uh-huh.
So, is there really love? That's the question.
Well, hold on. I knew it wasn't love. That's part of it now. But check this out, Carl. I'm about to blow your mind. Now, remember, what was going on for me at that time was I'm feeling the pressure to get married and have babies. I'm the only one in my crowd that's not there. So I said yes out of the desperation and, the clock and all that stuff. But my intuit saved me and said, no, Meg, I don't know what's going on here, but this is not your guy. This is not a match. I gave him back the ring. 2 days later, my phone is blowing up. And I got people calling me saying, well, you just dodged yourself one bullet. Excuse me? What? He's gay. He was gay. He was practicing what people have called on the down low. He wanted to get that ring, reel me in, so on paper, he was untouchable. And he could have his private life. Woo-wee! 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 So it wasn't love. It wasn't even lust. Isn't that interesting? He was the first guy that I was seriously involved with that did not want to touch me. And, he was slick. And he attributed it to his Christianity. He wanted to save himself. And I, coming from a series of dalliances, thought, that's so honorable. That's impressive. A guy is willing to wait? Because I didn't know what that was like. So, I got a little bamboozled there. But again, I think the loneliness. When I think of the 4, love, lust, limerence, or loneliness, it was lonely. I was tired of being single. I was feeling lonely, not being coupled up, hitched up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, for sure.
And that pressure has now been completely relieved in this culture. But boy, that drum beat was constant. Constant. But, my part in that was I got to check a box. I got to fill a slot. I'm engaged. Somebody wants me. Yeah, well, so much for that. Yeah. Can you believe what I spared myself from.
I'm glad. I'm glad. I was gonna say let us pray, but you know.
Yeah, really. And what's really wild is after that blew up, sure enough, good old Oprah Winfrey, it was probably a couple months later, she did a whole show on women who got bamboozled by marrying a homosexual man. And again, I've got nothing against anybody. The sexual preferences, I don't care what you are. I don't care. I'm a no judgment gal. But she did the show and I went, oh my God, he was textbook. He said all the right things. But again, as a clinical therapist, here's what I know. It takes two. I couldn't trash him, blame him, because I was in cahoots with him. He wanted to be married to distract his other life. I wanted to be married to feel like I finally belong. I'm chosen. Oh, God, what a Kool-Aid to drink. So, go ahead.
We talk a lot about FOMO, fear of missing out.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what you were dealing with.
Oh, listen, I could be the poster child for that. Oh, my God, I've got stories that would back that up. The things that I make sure I haven't missed and would do anything to have an experience. Yeah. Fear of, well, I'll tell you what the lethal combination is. To have a bad case of FOMO and to be just a diehard hedonist. And I am. Oh, my God. Again, I thought I said this last week. My first therapist, when I went to her in my late 20s, not long after I ended that engagement, based on my colorful past before him, he was kind of representative of I was headed in a different direction. But she's like, Meg, you're so lucky to be alive because the places I've gone, the things I've done. Now, it didn't involve anything illegal. I'm not that gal. But I've been places that women, at that time especially, in their...
Are we going into lessons?
No, what I'm going to talk about now is... The first one is love, because everyone understands that word. So this is my, again... Meg's opinion around love. You can Google it, and a lot of people write about it, my God. But we're pretty convinced it's still one of the most misunderstood human experiences, other than we need the experience. So here's coming from my story. I am happy to report that I was married. I did finally I met another man not long after him. The closet homosexual. But look at the circumstances. My former husband, his first name is Dan. I can now speak the name because I'm a woman of no bitterness. I travel light. And I understand so much how come we found each other and how come we eventually got married. One of the things I've learned is that a big part of love, deep, mature, grown-up love, involves the two people having 2 or 3 fundamental values that they share. Okay? So this is not about lust. It's not about, sex. It's not about a tingle. Grown-up, mature love doesn't automatically include what we call the dopamine dump, which is that sizzle, that tingle, right? That's more of a lust/limerence, which we'll get to.
So it's like the choice, not a feeling.
Yeah, it's like you're drawn to somebody. But what draws you to this somebody? And in my case, going back to what I learned, you have 2 or 3 fundamental values. So I meet my former husband. Yes, we're not together anymore as of, 6 years ago. And it's all good as far as I'm concerned. I can't speak for him. We met in therapy. We were going to the same therapist, and she started to have workshops. And that's where we intersected. And I'm like, I knew then that I wanted to clean up my backyard. Ding, 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 ding. That's one of my favorite phrases. Clean up my backyard, move out of my promiscuous past, and I can say that honestly. I slept around and cleaned up my backyard and valued personal growth. So to meet this guy who valued personal growth as much as I did, that was the hook. It wasn't, again, about being sexually attracted, being physically attracted, having a chemical attraction. It was that fundamental value. And then over time, the other thing I discovered, he valued just as much as I did fun. Oh, this man liked to play. And I kind of think we were maybe in a past life, like maybe he was Spanky and I was Darla. If you know anything about Our Gang, which is a great TV show from back in the 50s and 60s. But either way. But we valued fun and enjoyment. And, of course, it didn't hurt that we were both Geminis. Oh. His birthday is the day before mine. Good God Almighty. That was almost a lethal combination. But in the meantime, again, shared fundamental values and personal growth was number one, and having fun and being adventurous were the others. The other thing that's been written about grown-up love, mature love, is that it's more focused on truly getting to know each other as human beings. Going beyond just the personality, going beyond, what do you enjoy, what kind of fun do you like to have? Because all that vetting is what's going on now, and I find that very annoying in the dating world, all this vetting. But it's like you're genuinely curious. It's genuine. You want to get to know. And that getting to know process is steady. It's not like you do it all at the front end and then you coast. It's steady. And that's exactly what was going on between me and Dan. And the story that backs that up, I had never had this experience before, Carl. Our first date, we went to a restaurant. We were there 3 hours. We didn't order dinner until the third hour. We were so engaged, not infatuated, engaged and like, who is this person? The level of curiosity, and that's what was going on. And I didn't know then that really was the grounds of a more mature love. Nothing fleeting.
Man, I would have kicked you out after the first hour you at my restaurant. And you would have been gone after the first hour.
I know. And listen, our server was not happy with us because he kept saying, "Are you ready? Are you ready?" And we were both surprised. We're like, "No, not really." But that's how, again, engaged we were in getting to know each other. And for me, what I really appreciate, Dan, not that you're listening, that he did say at the end of the night, and I thought this this was exquisite. He looked at me, and Higgins is my last name. He looked at me and said, "Higgins, I don't know where this is going, but I have a sense that you are going to be an important person in my life." Now think about that. Thank you, Dan. Think about that. He didn't jump into this deep end of lust and I can't wait to lay you and I can't wait to see you again. It was none of that. It was like he was curious and he knew that there was something significant, but neither one of us called it love. But I look back now and no wonder we did over 30 years together. We really did have a connection that was built on love. The other thing that we know about love, which distinguishes it from the other experiences, lust, limerence, or loneliness, is it's effortful. I mean, you got to it's like Dr. Gottman called it, look at your connection like a bank account. He called it the love account. You got to put stuff in it. You got to make continuous deposits because relationships will require you withdrawing some things. Oh, yeah. Taking some things from the other or the relationship. And you make sacrifices and there's trade-offs. And that's exactly what was going on in what we would call our courtship. That was happening from the get-go. Very, very, very interesting.
When we look at love as a verb.
Yes.
What does it look like when someone shows love instead of saying it? And I think that's what we really got to realize. Like you said, people take from it, but you also have to put in it. So you can say it all day, but showing it is what really.
But again, and part of grown-up love is where you learn what is it that your partner needs that makes them feel special. Listen, I realize, and someone told me this a long time ago, we as humans tend to give what we want to receive. And I look back, and I was giving to Dan, I was sending him flowers to his job. Oh my God, he was mortified. I was sending him cards. That was not his thing. Now, we call it love languages today, which I don't really want to talk about because that's a whole nother thing. But the point is, pay attention to what you give to people.
Love languages changed my life. And again, like, it's not tonight, but oh my gosh.
Yeah.
When you learn your love language, it makes a difference.
But even within those groupings that Chapman created, there's very, very specific things that each person knows, or not knows. Yeah, they do know. Like, example, I love bubble baths. Now, acts of service is one of the things that Chapman has. You could do some things for me and they would completely go unnoticed and unacknowledged. But if you want to start my bath, oh, honey bunny. I mean, ooh, that'll ring my chime. So it's not enough just to have the categories. It's important. Grown-up love requires that you educate your partner.
Yes.
You say, you know what? If you do this, I will feel special, cared about. But a lot of people, women, were prone to do this, unfortunately. Read my mind. You can figure it out. Oh, there's an old saying from a long time ago. If you loved me, you would know. And my answer is, hell to the no. No, you want a fast path to failure. Have a guy try to read your mind or figure out what rings your chimes. That's not going to happen.
that.
That's not going to happen. Yep. So it's interesting. Supporting the other is a big, big part of it. Someone who will cheer you on and help you get to where it is you want to go. Yeah. I got a whole nother conversation about that. So let's get to the next one, limerence, because this is a word that was created by a psychologist, of course. Her name was Dr. Dorothy Tennov, Tennov, back in the late 70s. What prompted her was she was working with couples and not buying, which I agree that, not everybody falls in love, not everybody has love, but they think it. But limerence is very, very different. Limerence is a fancier word for what we now know to be the in-love experience, falling in love. But I like the word limerence better because how she describes it, and I've seen this in my practice when I was working exclusively with couples, it's when you're just completely fascinated by the other. It's almost kind of like a magical mystery.
Fantasy.
Yes, it's rooted in, well, you have fantasies about this person that you create in your own head. But in other words, this is where you do feel euphoric, off-center. So on the streets, here's some other words for limerence, in case you're wondering, is this it? If you have a crush on somebody, you're just preoccupied with them. You can't stop thinking about them. You're hyper-focused. Even like you think about them when there's no reason to think about them, right? It's not like you're reminded of them. You just kind of can't stop thinking about them. You're preoccupied. Crush is a big word. Smitten was another word in my parents' generation. If you were smitten with someone, that's called limerence. But the one that we typically use is infatuated. Okay? So again, the deal is if you're hyper-focused on this other person, it doesn't matter how you met, where you met, but you kind of can't stop thinking about them. But here's the real kicker, which no one ever talked about until Dr. Tennov. She said, the difference is you are looking for that other person to reciprocate with infatuation in you. Okay? So that's the expectation. In other words, you're craving them. You want to see them again. You want to be with them again. And if they're not matching you, that's when you know you are in love. This is your immersion. And boy, I look back, oh my God. Charlie Zimmerman, where are you? I was so into you, and I was so into you all by myself. He wasn't able to match me in any which way, and I kept looking for it. And that's the other thing. When you get frustrated because they're not as desirous, they're not as fascinated. Again, that's the difference, is you want what you're feeling to be reciprocated from them to you. And if it doesn't happen, that's a problem. Again, you're in it by myself. Am I making sense?
You are making sense. If anybody knows Charlie, we would love to have him
Last I heard,
call.
he was in Florida, and that was a long, long time ago.
We would love to have him call in.
Oh, my God.
515.
No, I don't need any of my formers. Just call it that. I've only got one former husband. Thank you. I'm a one and doneer, by the way. I will not repeat that experience. But I'm glad to have done it once. It did inaugurate me into places I don't think I ever would have gone as a single or promiscuous woman. But here's the other thing, too, and this is why I look back and I go, oh, that's what was going on. That feeling, that euphoria, it fades. It fades. And that's why I believe so many people are so disappointed, because if they have the in-love, limerent experience, the expectation is, well, this is what got us together. This is the crazy glue. Well, then we're good to go. We'll go places. This will have longevity to it. Very, 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 very different. But Charlie, I definitely can remember that was Limerence. Now, let's go to lust, because this is where we don't talk about this enough in this culture. We just don't.
And it always gets a bad rep, too.
It does. And it's, again, see, keep in mind, let me go back to Physiology 101. Because we have the hard-wired need to bond, which is code for experience emotional openness or physical contact together. That's why there's all these different places we can go. For some people, we feel the emotional connection, but the physical, it's not as strong, or it's not as present. And I do remember that many people would say to Dan and I when we were a couple, you get along so well. You're almost kind of like brother and sister. And now that sounds terrible, and it reeks of incestuous, but that's not what it was. But I understood that we were friends. The physical stuff. Okay, go back to lust. Lust is when you are just so turned on. I mean, your body is turned on. I'm not talking about a tingle. I'm talking about you want to lay this person.
Fire and desire.
Isn't that a song?
Yes, it is.
Who is it? Whose song is it? What's his name? Oh, I know. I loved
Rick James and Tina Marie.
That's it. Oh, God, I love that combination. Say them again.
Rick James and Tina Marie.
Oh, my God. That song was, oh, my God. Okay, now, in other words, I'm telling you my story. I've been in lust more than I've been in anything. Out of love, limerence, lust, and loneliness, although I'm starting to get cozy with loneliness. Most likely due to the stage of life. But, lust, oh, my God. I mean, I can remember going, I got to have this guy. I got to. This is a non-negotiable. What do I have to do? What do I have? I remember this is crazy. It's crazy, but it's harmless, although you got to have some sensibility. But, we call it magnetic. You're just so drawn. But again, with lust, it's heavily, heavily physical. And the more extreme end of that, I gotta lay you. That's but that's not the only destination for some people. And I can remember this. I I just want to put my arms around you. Or I want to run my fingers through your hair. Or, God, I could gaze into your eyes forever. So notice what gets your attention. It's literally various body parts. Literally. Whether it's hair, smile, eyes.
Scent.
Scent? Oh, well, that's...
I mean, a good cologne, a good perfume.
Oh, God, you know what? What has happened in this world? Men don't wear cologne anymore. And that's what I came up with. I mean, that's what I grew up with. And I can, he shall remain nameless. There was a guy I was dating, and I really liked him. Isn't this interesting? I really liked him. And I think I wanted to lust after him. I was like missing that. And so, sure enough, I don't know how many dates in, I said, do you like cologne? Oh, yeah, I used to wear it. I said, well, that's a good start. Would you consider wearing it again? Sure, why not? And I mean, I couldn't get to that department store fast enough. I don't remember the brand. It doesn't matter, but it was one of my faves. And I'm telling you, when he put that on, oh, that lust fire lit up. It was quick. So, again, it's almost primal. You know, it's kind of like what I imagine maybe would have been like in the caveman days, you know. Me, Tarzan, you, Jane, I got to have you. And, you know, I want to be picked up and taken.
Right. Lust is honest. It's attraction, chemistry, and curiosity.
Well, curiosity, a little bit. But it's more of a drive. And this is what's crazy about it, because it's like we lose access to our frontal lobe where, you know, does this make sense? And, you know, in other words, when you fantasize about, you know, how and when and where, it's kind of like metaphorically, I've got an itch that's got to get scratched. And how in God's name can I get it scratched? Especially if you're just meeting somebody, right? You know, because there are steps. But that's important. That's really important. And it's like this, I have to have them. And having can, you know, it can mean intercourse. It can mean that, but not necessarily. It could be all these other preliminary things, like I just want to be held. Oh, I wonder what his lips are like. Oh, my God. Yeah. No wonder Mae West is one of my icons. She knew her way in the company of men. She knew how to flirt. Oh, my God. Whatever. So I hope, listeners, and again, if you've got an opinion or you've got a dilemma you want to run by me, the Queen of Second Opinions, 515-599-1687, or if you want to have private time with me, go to secondopinionated.com and book me. You'll find that page there. I'm available, texting, phone call, for any private one-on-ones. Because, again, I come packing with a lot of life experience. And
Facebook direct messages, Instagram direct messages.
oh, see, now
You can
this
be
is
reached out
Carl. He's not my partner in crime. He's my partner in social media.
I got you.
Because he's trying to get me hip. I'm hip in a lot of other ways and a lot of other areas of my life, but I'm not hip when it comes to technology.
At Meg's Second Opinion.
There you go.
MEG, the number 2, ND Opinion. On all platforms.
Right. So, you're young, Carl.
Yes.
And I don't need names and I don't need stories, but given the fact, because I'm saving loneliness for last, for a bunch of reasons. Have you had a love experience, not in love, that's the limerence, or a lust? Have you traveled to any of those areas?
It's a great question.
It's a great question.
Well,
I'm putting you on the spot.
Have you ever confused lust with love? And what's
Honey,
the difference?
that happens all the time. That's my point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess I know it's love. It's really the action, you know. For me, it's the action. Like, when I am purposely doing things that's when I know it's love. It
Oh, intentional, conscious.
intentionally.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah.
But it's not, and that's exactly right. That is not in love. But grown up
Yeah,
adult
that's
love,
that's
right?
that love. Yeah. Now lust, I feel like lust, like in high school. Oh man, lust was high in
Yeah.
high school. But a lot of emotions, a lot of hormones, a lot of
Right.
there
That's
was a
right.
lot.
That's right.
Very
Again,
primal, like you
it's
said.
more linked to, not just the sex drive, but the sexual appeal. Like, there's something about the way this person looks. There's something about the way they move. There's something, again, about their exterior, right? It's really dependent upon that.
Like first impression almost, because a first impression is a big deal, and I've looked at people and be like, I wonder. You know what I mean?
You wonder what they would be like?
I wonder.
Yeah.
Even
That's it. Yeah.
My sixth grade teacher.
Well.
Yeah, like you said, we won't name names.
That's right. We won't name names.
But my sixth grade teacher.
I only had one. Oh, that's interesting. I've only had that experience once with a teacher, and it was in my freshman year in college. And God, he looked like Dustin Hoffman. I think that was half of it because I loved Dustin Hoffman's look back in the day with The Graduate. He definitely was a clone of Dustin, and I liked that look. And it was some sociology class. It doesn't matter what, but I liked his style of teaching too. Yeah, and I would fantasize. Yeah, lust has a lot of fantasy woven into it, where you imagine. You don't necessarily act on it. See, that's the difference. With limerence, you want to act. But the act that you want is you want them to reciprocate. I want to see that you are into me as much as I'm starting to be into you, right? But lust is, I think that's where the term one night stands probably fit in the hookup culture. Oh my God, that's my phone.
It's all right.
I like to model imperfection, folks. But what about limerence? Did that word? Most people of your age have no idea what that word is.
I couldn't wait till we got to that word because I'm like, it almost is selfish because what you said is you want that other person to feel that way about you.
Yes,
too.
it
That
is.
is very selfish. And I've never thought about it, but limerence, this might be the first time I've ever even heard the word.
I know. Well, it's been around, and it's kind of been resurrected. I've noticed in my industry, well-being, mental health, but especially in the relationship segment of it, which is really where I've hung my hat most of my professional life. And I'm glad Dorothy, Dr. Tenov, came up with it again back in the late 70s. The part that I really, really, really like is that, again, it's just a fancier word for falling in love. But the part that has really stood the test of time, and I saw this as a couple specialist in my practice, if that's how people started, with this hyper-focus and almost a craving and euphoria, infatuated feeling, if that's how a lot of couples launched their dating life and then eventually would maybe get engaged, much less married, it really faded. And I saw that a lot in my office. Couples didn't know what to do now that had subsided. They thought they were in trouble. And I said, well, I understand that because that's how you started. But to go the distance, now here's where the effort comes in and the supporting one another, and we call it compromising. I'm so tired of that word. I think it just more is a renegotiation. What brings you together is not necessarily going to keep you together, because grown-up love is not fleeting. It requires, again, effort. And like the love bank account that Dr. Gottman talks about, you got to keep investing and making deposits. And the other thing Dr. Tenov said was that in love or limerence kind of experience is really rooted also in not wanting to be rejected. So there's a fear. So you start off with, it's kind of like Will you still love me? Oh, there's Carole King's song. Will you still love me tomorrow? That's really what it is. It's rooted in not being very secure within yourself. And yeah, but I look back now and I would say I have spent most of my adult life lusting and relying on that. And I'm not proud of that. But I understand how come that that need to have somebody have sexy contact with you. For me, it was tied to the state of deprivation, which is a fancy way to say that, and many people grew up in a family where demonstrative physical touch affection was in short supply. And I understand it. You know, my mom was busy with 10 children. My dad was on the road as a salesman. He wasn't there. So, I mean, what human being is going to have the capacity to have affectionate contact with 10 children?
Yeah.
I mean, forget about it. That would wear me out.
And that could get lonely too.
Yeah, yeah. So there was the lack, or not lack, the limit. There wasn't much of that. So I kind of came right out of the chute just wanting to make up for it. And I did that by being sexual. And that makes sense. You know, you get what you can get. And if sleeping around is going to get me some being held time, I'll do it. I'll do it. Again, that's why I say to people all the time, there's an intellectual logic, and then there's an emotional logic. And I now understand I was seeking contact. And I'm practicing imperfection again. And I did it through lusting after people. Oh, my goodness, my goodness, my goodness. Sleeping around. Yeah, sleeping around. Hookup culture. There's no new word for that now, is it? See, it was always sleeping around back in my day. Is it strictly now hookup, or is there?
That's a great question.
I don't know if there's a new word.
If you know, 515-599-1687. If you know a new word.
Is there? Yeah, I want to. Yeah, like I said, I want to stay hip to you youngsters. I know. I remember years and years ago when a young friend of mine in Northern California dropped the word situationship in my lap, and I looked at her and I said, "What are you talking about?" And she's like, "Oh, you haven't heard about this?" I said, "No." She's like, "Well, it's kind of new," and explained it to me that you have a friend connection
with benefits,
with sexual benefits. And I was like, dang, that's such a cleaner version than being a whore or a slut, which is what, in my generation, a woman was called if she liked the benefit of having a benefit. This is the part that I think is so interesting about us human beings. And I think the last time I checked, what Webster's dictionary had 479,000 words in its dictionary. And I thought to myself, we have really complicated things. We keep saying the same thing, but just renaming it, right? So sleeping around, now it's hookup, situationship. I had never thought that was even possible. Although, see, maybe this is where I'm kind of not prudish, but I wouldn't want to sleep with my friends. See, for me, that would ruin it. So do you have to negotiate this at the front end? From what I understood from this friend, she's like, they talked about it because they were both feeling some loneliness and they weren't involved or dating anybody. So they took it upon themselves. Is that how that's
I think
done?
it's situational. I think some people fall into it. And I think some people plan
fall into it.
Yeah, so...
You mean like maybe they get drunk and then they kiss and then they're like, hey, that wasn't so bad, so let's talk about it and add this to our connection?
Or because you can be attracted to your friend. I mean, they have qualities that obviously are attractive.
But see, I've never lusted after a male friend.
Well, I guess we would have to define what a friend is then.
See, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean.
So it's situational, I think.
Well, and I do think I do know from past client situations. I know people have had a lustful thought about an opposite sex friend, but it was just a thought. It kind of came and it went, and it almost sounded like, well, they are attractive. They were like acknowledging that. I'm dating myself here, but that's why I think When Harry Met Sally is one of my all-time favorite rom-coms. I mean, I love how Billy Crystal and Meg Ryan just traveled this journey. Did you ever see the movie?
So I'm not a big movie guy.
Oh, okay.
But
that's all right.
I have heard of that movie plenty of times. On the socials now.
Right. It's very, very popular, isn't even the right way. I just think what I appreciate about it is it took that very subject on. Can men and women be friends?
Now, that's a great question. That's what I would love for the callers to call in about.
Well, 515-599-1687. Again, we're talking about love, lust, limerence, and eventually loneliness. I'm saving that for the last. Well, that is true. Now, see, I have an opinion about that.
Ooh.
For me, now this is coming out of my life experience, what life has shown me, taught me, and revealed to me is, I look back, the only men that I have been able to have a meaningful friendship with already had a girlfriend or already had a wife. And as part of that, I made darn sure early in the friendship that I could see was unfolding that I met the wife. I met the girlfriend. In other words, I would say I'll just make this up, hey, Joe, I really like you. I'm learning some things from you, through you, whatever. And, oh, you got a girlfriend. Okay, well, how about the next time we decide to have lunch or whatever, meet for happy hour, bring her along. And that, I know that was intentional on my part. I don't think I trusted myself, truthfully. And then I come to realize, I'm like, oh yeah, I can do this because they're getting other needs met. But you know what? Maybe what I'm really trying to say is I don't want that frustration. The frustration of having some needs not being met that on paper could get met by this guy, but now we're back to situationship.
Yeah, I mean, that's what friends are for, right?
Oh, that's what friends are for. Well, that's interesting. So that's my opinion. I shouldn't say it's not possible. People are doing it all the time. I believe from a protecting their relationship and respecting that relationship, I would have to meet the girlfriend and the wife. I'd have to be introduced. They'd have to know this, and they'd have to experience me, that I have no intention or agenda.
I think that was your cop out. That was the easy way for you to have a male friend, and like you knew you couldn't take it there with them because they already had some.
I don't think I trusted myself. That's my point. I don't think I trusted myself to have that level of discipline, maturity, boundary setting is the word, I will say this. There are people out there that have got that. But now when I think about it, again, if they had a significant other, they were part of that. That was known. Again, they had crossed paths. They had met. Okay. I think this is a great time to take a break because you got me thinking, which is good. And again, if you have an opinion around love, lust, limerence, or loneliness, even though I haven't spoken about it yet, you can call us at 515-599-1687. Welcome, callers. If you have an opinion, we'll take it. If you have a dilemma that you want to run by me, Queen of Second Opinions, I'm your gal. And be sure to, if you wanted to have any kind of more private connection with me, Meg Higgins, then you can run to my website, secondopinionated.com.
Which
Oh,
one?
I love this. When we're in the in between.
Oh, got you.
There's a new me coming out, and I just have to live, and I wanna give. I'm completely positive. I think this time around I am gonna do it like you never knew it. Oh, I'll make it through. The time has come for me to break out of the shell. I have to shout that I am coming out. I'm coming out. I want the world to know. I got to let it show. I'm coming. I'm coming out. Coming. I want the world to know. Got to let it show. I've got to show the world all that I wanna be and all my abilities. There's so much more to me. Somehow I'll have to make them just understand. I got it well in hand, and oh, how I've planned. I'm spreading love, there is no need to fear. And I just feel so good every time I hear I'm coming out, coming. I want the world to know, got to let it show. I'm coming out, I want the world to know, got to let it show.
Hey, hey, folks. Welcome back. Meg here, your queen of second opinions. Well, I tell you what, turns out Carl and I had expansive thinking going on in the moment, talking about love, lust, limerence, and I was going to save loneliness for last, but I tell you what, I want to do just a show on that.
Ooh.
Yeah, because I'm in this third act of life, I'm definitely experiencing a kind of loneliness that I've not ever experienced. And typical loneliness, oftentimes people, understand it as, just a need to be with people in some particular way. And it usually comes out of a sense of more isolation in your life, which is code for less people contact or infrequent contact, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm extroverted. Anybody who knows me knows that. And I thrive on people. But I know part of what's going on is because I'm back in my birthplace. And I'm choosing to create new connections, new friends, just not rely on the ones that are historical. So I'm in this in-between zone, and I'm feeling lonely. It's like I don't have as much valuable, meaningful people contact, regular, and so I'm feeling lonely. And it's a kind of sadness, but not the kind where I'm crying, but like a longing. Oh, there's that word. I'm longing for more meaningful contact. That makes loneliness. All right. I'll wrap it up on that, but I will maybe seriously consider just doing a good amount of a program on that. In the meantime, hope you learn something. Hope.
Please reach out, make second opinion, throw any questions, send any DMs, go to the website.
Yeah, you know what? The way to stay close to Meg is to, just keep popping on the website to see what's popping up there, because again, now that I've got my comedy going, I'm going to be throwing most likely some links to some of the shows or little slices of it. And yeah, I'm on Facebook every day putting something there. And Carl is keeping me on all the social media platforms. But in the meantime, I hope you write down this phone number, 515-599-1687. So no matter what time zone you're in, because I got people all over the country, I'm so glad that I've cultivated a wide following of friends and people all over the world. Okay, thank you, Justin. Yeah, Justin's my other partner in crime. He's the producer here at My City, My Music. Oh, and we'll be putting out a link to every show. You can, the link will be tied to his website, My City, My Music, and eventually we'll have our own separate link. But I'm just.
How you feeling, Meg?
How am I feeling? I tell you what. There you go. That's how I'm feeling. That's my gal, Lizzo. All right, folks. Enough said. Thank you. Thank you. Love you all. See you next week.
Keep it moving, yes, Lord. Trying to get some new shit in there. Swimwear, going to the pool sheet. Come now, come dry your eyes. You know you a star, you can touch the sky. I know that it's hard, but you have to try. If you need advice, let me simplify. If he don't love you anymore, just walk your fine ass out the door. I do my head talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Head talk, check my nails. Baby, how you feeling? Feeling good as hell. Baby, how you feeling?